Dear all, I'm Kalpna Singh Chitnis, poet and editor of Sunflowers and your host at River Press. First, I want you to know how grateful I am for your presence today and for welcoming all of you on behalf of our small publication. But let's ask ourselves, why are we here today? Of course, we are here for the official book launch of Sunflowers, Ukrainian poetry on war, resistance, hope, and peace that we have created together. But we are here for another great reason, and that is to create good memories. We are made of memories. We are made of our genetic, historical, and cultural memories. Our very existence is built on the foundation of these memories. That's why when brute forces want to destroy us, they try to destroy our language and culture, distort our history. Therefore, it's our responsibility to protect them and preserve them in our art, poetry, and humanity, and continue creating such memories to nourish our roots, our very being, and the advancement of our society. This ongoing war with Russia since 2014 has given many scars and painful memories to Ukraine. They must be replaced with resistance, hope for peace, and far more beautiful memories to assure and comfort its people and keep our faith alive in humankind. I want you to know that working on Sunflowers has been an extraordinary, enriching experience for me. In the process of putting this soulful anthology together, I have unknowingly allowed Ukraine to carve a space for itself in my heart. Thus, whenever the enemy's missiles fall on your chest, dear Ukraine, I too feel its impact on my heart. I'm scorched by the fire descending from the sky that had charred your sunflower fields, the very souls of Kharkiv, Bucha, Mariupol, Sumy, Mykolaiv, Volnovakha, and Kiev. I have imagined myself taking refuge in an underground shelter with you, fleeing my home to live in a foreign land as a destitute. I can hear the sounds of the air raid and sirens day and night by being beside you, being in a bunker, in a foxhole in harsh winter with the defenders of Ukraine who protect their land by sacrificing their lives. You do not let your country down with your sacrifices, which is why, dear Ukraine, I stand in solidarity with you. On a day when Ukraine is fighting a fierce battle against the brutal force of Russia, I solemnly invite all the powers of the universe to hear the sounds of the rockets falling on Ukrainian lands, blasting its infrastructures, hospitals, schools, buildings, homes, and the cry of humanity being silent by its bullets. I want to invite them to sit in silence for a moment, to grieve for the losses of Ukraine, and ask ourselves why we have allowed this war to happen. Why have we not been able to stop this insanity, and to realize that it will be more profitable for humanity to stop this war than the cost of fueling and benefiting from it. We are poets and warriors, not politicians. And we cannot guarantee that politicians will have the time and will to hear our pleas, and that the universe will accept our invitation to contemplate these questions with us. But we must strive for it. We must sow the seeds of sunflowers in every heart which looks toward the sun, and know that darkness will always remain with us until the end. But it must not be accepted as an answer to our quest for light and love. I too promise you, dear Ukraine, to sow and water the seeds of your beautiful sunflowers in the space you have carved in my heart, and grow them under the California sun with care, and someday bring the harvest to you, to greet you in person, soon when the war is over and the dark clouds are lifted from your skies. With these words, I welcome all of you again and ask for your help in inviting my dear sister, friend, and an important poet and translator from Ukraine, Olena Olier, to officially launch Sunflowers, Ukrainian poetry on war, resistance, hope, and peace, dedicated to the victims and survivors of the Ukrainian war and defenders of Ukraine. Olena, welcome. Welcome, Olena. Namaste, Ukraine.
My name is Olena Brosalina, and Olena Olier is my pen name. I am speaking from Kyiv, and by now probably everyone knows that Kyiv is the capital of Ukraine. I work as a translator in Astrolabe Publishing, and when I was told that River Po Press USA invited Ukrainian poets and translators to participate in the Sunflowers anthology, I felt deeply moved, and I am heartily grateful to my sister poet, editor and publisher Kalpna Singh Chitnis for inviting me to participate in the launch of the Sunflowers, Ukrainian poetry on war, resistance, hope and peace anthology. It's a great honor for me, and it's a pity that we can't do this live. But even a video presentation is a good opportunity to talk about this anthology, which in the language of poetry tells about the war in Ukraine, which shocked the whole world. And now let me unfold this Ukrainian towel on which the red viburnum is embroidered, one of our national symbols, along with sunflower. And let me get something out of it. What a surprise! This is sunflowers themselves, and I will share a little secret with you. This is one of the few copies of sunflowers that Volodymyr Tymchuk, a poet and warrior and contributor of the anthology, recently printed in Ukraine with Kalpna's permission and sent to me. So this very moment I officially present this book to the world. On February 24, 2022, Russia just launched a full-scale invasion. And here is my own poem from Sunflowers. From the Sonnets of Victory, з циклу Сонети перемоги. Авторка Олена Олір. Всевишній, всемогутній судіє, хай переможуть праведні, благаю, важкоозброєну ворожу зграю, хай прожене тоненьке копіє. Хай візьме гору воїнство твоє, хай на межі останнього чаю у розпал битви зійде ангел з раю і ворога дощенто розіб'є. Хай Голіят паде до ніг Давида і явиться звитяга ясновида богопомазаному королю. І хоч у цій війні не видно краю, хай переможуть праведні, благаю, хай переможуть праведні, молю. And my English translation. O the Almighty Judge, O thou the High, I humbly pray thee, let the righteous win, and let the Holy Spear, so light and thin, drive out the armored foes and make them fly. Oh, let the triumph of thy host be nigh. Let on the hopeless brink a cherubim come down from heaven in the battle's din, and make the enemy defeated die. And let Goliath fall to David's feet, so that the bright-faced victory can greet the saint-anointed King that come to reign. And even though the war's end is not seen, I humbly pray thee, let the righteous win. Oh, let the righteous win, I pray again. And even we have blackouts here and air raid sirens, and even on battlefields. And it's a great honor for me to translate for Sunflowers several Ukrainian poems of wartime, and in particular the poems by two poets and participants in the Russian-Ukrainian war, Volodymyr Tymchuk and Anatoly Anatoly. Anatoly is a pen name. He has the rank of colonel, and he is also a philologist born in Lutsk. And here is his poem. Чому ми живі, лейтенанте? Автор Анатолій Анатолій. Чому ми живі, лейтенанте? Ми гинули, як ти учив, тонули в крові, лейтенанте, вгризалися в марево снів, співали псалми, лейтенанте, мелодії диких степів, чекали зими, лейтенанте, робили все, як ти хотів. Стовпи межові, лейтенанте, за ними у небо мости. Чому ми живі, лейтенанте? Ми вибрались, брате, а ти? Над нами кити, лейтенанте, пливуть у поля на нічліг. Дивися, хрести, лейтенанте, і твій десь один серед них. And my English translation. But why aren't we dead, our lieutenant? By Anatoly Anatoly. But why aren't we dead, our lieutenant? We laid down our lives as you taught. We heavily bled, our lieutenant. Beat into the ravens we got. We sang psalms of old, our lieutenant, the songs of the wild virgin land. Expected the cold, our lieutenant, did everything at your command. There is milestones ahead, our lieutenant. Beyond there is a bridge to the blue. But why aren't we dead, our lieutenant? We got out, our brother, and you. Swims like a colossus, lieutenant, above us a whale to the shores. Look, there are the crosses, lieutenant, and somewhere among them is yours. Poetry cannot bring peace, but it can be a form of prayer for victory and peace, and unite human hearts. And this is my message to the world leaders and to the world creative community. Let's be together. Let's be on the side of light, and together we will defeat the evil that is Putin's Russia, And this victory will be part of our common great history.
Hi, glory to Ukraine, Slava Ukraini. I am Volodymyr Tymchuk. I am a Ukrainian poet and translator, a military in armed forces of Ukraine. I have been in war area since the beginning of summer till the middle of autumn. Nowadays I am in safe region in Ukraine, and I would like to represent my poems in anthology Sunflowers, edited by my friend Kalpna Singh Chitnis. First of all, I would like to say that it is very difficult to write poems during combat actions or security of these actions, uh, and uh, all impressions are very sharp, very hard, and uh, very realistic. And it is necessary to think poetically, to write some verses or elsewhere, and think about friends, think about colleagues and Ukrainians, uh, feeling um, feeling care and thoughts about all Ukrainians persons, and desire to stop this war, to achieve peace and to come in Europe, and to set the justice, the justify and law in the world. The first poem I wrote on 24th of February, just the new phase of Russian aggression against Ukraine started, because everybody knows that Russia started war against Ukraine not in 2022 but 8 years earlier, in 2014. So many of Ukrainians were prepared for for the fact that it is necessary to defend our country, our our values and our lives, our right to live as we want, to live as democratic, as human state and society. So I would like to start with my poem, which was signed in the 1st of March. So first of all, I will read in Ukrainian, and after that in translation. І на 6-й день він створив людину. Душі весна, весни душа і 6-й день. Вся Україна у вогні, і світ інакшим стає. Адже свобода не слова, а гідність не мана. Коли у рідний край приносять облудний мир, страждає Харків і кровлять Чернігів, Суми, Буча, Миколаїв, Волноваха. Коли в оселі чи в авто, чи у садок фугас. Коли в дитячі сни вриваються сирени і вокзали, коли в лікарнях, потягах і чергах тиск і страх, коли узяті у полон пощади просять, коли в церквах у переміж прокльони й молитви, коли на вулиці в містах без пострілів виходять по всьому світу люди, що серця відчули і простягнули руку допомоги, коли це світ новий, якого не було. And the poem in translation by Bogdan Horovy. And on the sixth day he created man. A spring for Saul, the spring's soul, and on the other sixth day the whole Ukraine was put on fire, and the world became diverse. Because the freedom is not in words, and dignity is not delusion. When false peace is brought, no native land. When Kharkiv suffers and Chernihiv bleeds, as well as Sumy, Bucha, Mykolaiv, Volnovakha. When in the house or in the air or in the garden you can find a mine. When sirens and train stations break into children's dreams. When in hospitals trains and quiz, stress and fear. When captives ask for mercy, and when prayers and oaths are mixed in one church. When you go out into the streets of cities without shots. When people can somewhere open their hearts and extend a helping hand. When ours, but this is a new world that has never been. Sunflowers recovers the hidden early landscape of our struggle, dignity, and bravery that was hidden in the world. And everybody who has heart may see in Ukraine, and for all person of goodwill in the world. Of course, we have difficulties, and our young and old human are killed and wounded in combat actions, not only in combat area but in peaceful area. But we have no chance, we have no another ways as to keep safe our country. I would like to read another poem, Дебальцевська молитва, about one key battle in 2015. Пів СПГ і муха супроти танкових рот. Крайній у півросту на Дебальцевський ешафот. Господи, скільки лишилося у заметених снігом полях. Господи, скільки вже виплакала закоханими грішна земля. Господи, недоцілована і недопещений син. Господи, зрештою я, як і ти в цьому світі один. Господи, дай се виправити, дай утішатися в літах. Пів СПГ і муха, і кров холодіє в снігах. The poem was translated by Olena Olir. Дебальцеве prayer. Half of the SPG and the fly against many attempt. On the Debaltseve scaffold, in their half height, the top rank. Lord, in the snow-swept fields, how many have found their last bed? Lord, how much tears the ass for her beloveds has shed. Lord, unloved and ever unscared for son. Lord, I am alone like you in this world, in the long run. Lord, let me make it all right and feel comforted being old. Half of the SPG and the blood on the snow is cold. SPG is a type of arm, SPG 9 spare. Fly is a type of arm too, arms RPG 18 Nuka. And my last word for society and for all world, what I would like to ask everybody to sign the petition on change, where we Ukrainian poets and translators ask the Director General of UNESCO in future message dedicated to World Poetry Day in 2023 mention Ukraine and our struggle for dignity and freedom. Read Sunflowers and keep well. Slava Ukraini, glory to Ukraine.
My name is Olga Lifshin. I'm joining from Havertown, Pennsylvania. And this is a poem by Lyudmila Hersonska that I translated. And it is published in Sunflowers, Ukrainian Poetry on War, Resistance, Hope, and Peace. It is edited by Kalpna Singh Chitnis, and it's out from River Paw Press. War, Day 1. In the morning, rockets sang outside the window instead of birds. She tumbled out of bed in her cheery pajamas, ran barefoot across the chilly floor like across a blue sky, barefoot across the sky. What is this red blob flying outside the window? What is this so frightening, flying over our heads towards a peaceful morning with such a demonic whistle? Why are these clear glasses shaking, the clear soul shaking? Why is she trembling? So the war is here. No one asked her for a visit. No one made its bed or set the table with a snow-white tablecloth. How would she wash the blood drops off the white linen fabric? Is this war? She asked the closed door, standing barefoot in her cheery pajamas. What a guest, uninvited and scary. I won't open up, won't treat it to a good meal or put on my nice dress. Don't open, the door boomed. Don't feed it or put on your pretty dress. If it forces its way in, hit it with an axe.
Hello, my name is Kiva. I'm Ukrainian poet, translator, and journalist, and I want to read my poem The Land of Fear from the anthology The Sunflowers, and I will start from the original version. Робиш собі хворобливо коротку зачіску, ніби готуєш голову до чогось страшного, страшнішого за життя, за смерть, за війну, за все, що ти навіть не міг собі уявити, за все, що ти вже ніколи згадати не зможеш. Бо в цій країні страху нема де сховатися, в жодному укритті, в жодній шпарині, в жодному закутку лабіринту пам'яті. Так, втомлений мінотавр очікує на Тезея. на давньогрецькій вазі досконалої форми. And the next time we read the translation of Yulia Musakovska. You cut your hair thickly short, as if preparing your head for something dreadful, something more dreadful than life, death, war, or things you could never even imagine, more dreadful than things you could never recall anymore. There is no place to hide in this land of fear, neither a shelter nor a crack, nor a corner of memory's labyrinth. This is how a tired minotaur awaits Theseus on a perfectly shaped ancient Greek vase.
My name is Ella Yevtushenko. I'm a poet, a translator and musician from Ukraine, Kyiv. And I will read you my poem from the anthology Sunflowers, Ukrainian Poetry and War, Resistance, Hope and Peace, edited by Kalpna Singh Chitnis and published by Riverpore Press. First in Ukrainian and then in my own translation in English. Bucha Massacre. Є тіла і немає слів. Немає слів, немає. Тільки тіла лежать. Та і що ті слова супроти грубої сили, супроти їхньої ненависті, таку, що на неї навіть дикі звірі не здатні. Таку, що не знаєш, до якого царства цих істот віднести, бо нема в біології таких категорій, нема в жодних словниках таких слів, немає зовсім ніде тих слів. Я поетка, в мене їх мало би бути, ага, їх немає і все. Поезія померла, її закатували в Бучі, її кинули в каналізаційний люк голою, загорнули в украдений килим і залишили при дорозі. І перед тим, а вже ж, довго гвалтували. Тому й нема більше слів. Та і що ті слова? Пісок, що забивається до рота, коли падає шниць після пострілу в потилицю. Bucha Massacre. There are bodies, but no words. No words, none. Only bodies lying around. What can those words do anyway, against brute force, against their hate, such that even wild beasts are incapable of it? Such that you don't even know to which kingdom to attribute these creatures, because biology has no such categories. No dictionaries have any such words, none, no such words anywhere. I'm a poet. I should have had them, but I have none. None of them, and that's all. Poetry is dead. They tortured her to death in Bucha and threw her naked into a sewer hole, wrapped her into a stolen carpet and left at the roadside after a long rape, naturally. That is why there are no words anymore. And what are those words, anyway? Sand, filling your mouth when you fall flat on your face after being shot in the back of your head.
Vitaly Chernetsky, an alarm ran out in the sky. Poem from the Sunflowers, Ukrainian poems on war, resistance, hope and peace, anthology, published by Riverpore Press. An alarm ran out in the sky, in the basement, under the missile's noise. The baby's mother collects crumbs of biscuits from the floor. I was there, under the fire of Grad launch. An ambulance rushes to the city. Shells fly into the house. Hands shake nervously, and we yet do not give up. At the front and in every soul, we laugh through tears and sorrow. Truth is our driving force. We are faithful to honor and law, and our people are behind us. Our police shoulder straps protect humanity freedoms. We are on guard. We cannot be broken. No bullets, no grudge, nothing. Our job is to defend the people without any no and if. Загриміли в небі тривоги. Загриміли в небі тривоги. В підвалі під шум від ракет дитині мама з підлоги збирає крихти від галит. Он там, під обстрілом з граду, несеться в місто швидка. Летять в оселі снаряди, нервово трясеться рука. А ми таки не здаємось на фронті та в кожній душі. Крізь сльози та горе сміємось. Правда, ось наш рушій. Ми вірні честі й закону. За нами весь наш народ. Поліцейські наші погони на варті людства свобод. Ми на стражі, нас не зламати. Ні кулі, ні гради, ніщо. Наша справа народ захищати без будь-яких ні та якщо. Thank you. Дякую.
Dear all, dear authors, translators, readers, dear everyone who are listening our presentation now, who are interested in Ukrainian culture and especially in Ukrainian poetry. Now, it is very important to gather together to have a possibility to spread words about Ukrainian culture, especially in such horrible times in terms of war. I'm very grateful to be a part of Sunflowers project, and I'm very grateful not only to share my own poetry but to have a possibility to share information about many other Ukrainian poets who will be and who are in anthology right now. Some of these poetry you could also read at Chitomo Media. We are Ukrainian media about Ukrainian culture and book publishing, and you could also support us, and you already supported us by buying the first issues of this anthology. And now I'm going to read one poem, one in Ukrainian and in original language, and one in English. So, Ukrainian. Мова ненависті. Мова ненависті наростає у грудях щільними вдихами, вдихами помсти, вдихами справедливості. Твій гнів загусає повітря, стискає ворожі об'єкти, метал дає тріщини, вибухи згортаються усередину. Усе насправді. Прокидаєшся, а нічим дихати, тільки простір противника знову розширився, простір знову тобі по вдиху, по вибуху витискати, і так до ночі стоятимеш. Твоя мова тебе наростить, так і вистоїш. And now the English translation. Hate speech. The language of hate grows from the chest with heavy breath, breath of revenge, breath of justice. Your anger thickens the air, compresses enemy object, metal cracks, explosion caught in what? Everything is real. You wake up and there is nothing to breathe, only the space of hostility will be expanded again, the space that you'll have to squeeze out, breath by breath, after every explosion, and this is how you'll be standing by night. Your language will build you up and this is how you'll stand. Thank you for your attention, for your support, and stay tuned and stay together.
Всім привіт! Мене звати Ада Єлагіна. Я живу та пишу у Києві. Сьогодні я б хотіла прочитати вірш, який війшов до антології Sunflowers. Він називається «А цей сонях росте». А цей сонях росте, його брови хмарки позолочені, все хита головою від південного суховія, і горить його чуб, наче ватра роздмухана поночі, сутінкова зоря приазовського надвечір'я. Ходить сонях, не спить, все викурює змій попід ліжками, ляска Петрів батіг і періщить гадюк у стерні. А цей сонях росте, як пів всесвіту стане заввишки, до співучих планет пелюстки, як мости, прокладе. Перше сонце від сонць, кожна жилка у соках і трепеті, переродиться кров від коріння і до голови. Соня хоче розплющить, а над ним усе лебеді, лебеді, до розпалених зір дістають голубими крильми. Так цвіте глибина його сильна, пекуча і соняшна, серцевина дає непоборну снагу у зерні. Підійшов до руки тихий лед з найтеплішого борошна, і ти витворив сам оцю землю і Бога на ній.
Hello, my name is Ada Yelagina. I'm a poet from Kyiv. Today I'd like to read you a verse for Sunflowers anthology. Its title is And This Sunflower Grows. And this sunflower grows, its brows are gilded clouds, and the head is swaying in the southern rough wind, and its vague strand of hair burns like a blazing fire, fanned sun flames after dark by the Azov Sea. It's walking with no sleep, and burning all snakes out from under quiet beds. A grassy whip is clanning and lashing aspen stubble. That's how the flower grows. 'Twill reach a higher space and lay its petals bridge to the thinning planets. The sun among the suns, sees a vein of juice and trembling, and blood will be reborn from roots to the flower's head. The flower opens its eyes, and swans are flying over it to touch incandescent stars with their light blue wings. Its bloom is full of strength in my white-hot sunflower. The core endows this plant with power in the seed. And when the warmest flower caresses greenish palms, they will create this ground and all divine on it.
Hello, my name is Tanya Rodionova. I am a Ukrainian poet, translator, and cultural manager. And today I will read one of my poems for Sunflowers, Ukrainian poems on war, resistance, hope, and peace anthology, which was edited by Kalpna Singh Chitnis and published by Riverpole Press. So first I will read it in Ukrainian and then with translation in English. 16 березня. Кажуть, за 21 день виробляється звичка. І це, на жаль, правда. Те, до чого не хотілось звикати, стає буденністю. Я звикла від сирени прокидатись за 2 секунди, вставати, перекривати газ, закривати вікна і двері, йти в коридор, не прислухатись до шуму літаків, не думати, що якогось разу це може бути не наш. Звикла не виходити на вулицю без рюкзака, а на прогулянці тримати мапу укриттів у голові. 21 раз я губилась у часі, втрачала лік годинам і дням. 21 день я звикала. І ось сьогодні стався Маріуполь. І я не знаю, як звикнути до цієї порожнечі. So it was translated by Ilya Kaminsky, and the poem is called March 16. They say a habit is formed in 21 days, and that is unfortunately true. What I never wanted to get used to becomes everyday life. I got used to waking up from a siren in 2 seconds, cutting off gas, shutting windows and doors, going to the hallway, not listening attentively to the noise of aircrafts, not thinking that one day it will be theirs. I got used to not going out without my backpack and keeping the map of shelters in my head during the walk. 21 times I got lost in time. I lost count of hours and days. For 21 days I have been getting used to, and today Mariupol happened. And I don't know how to get used to this emptiness. Thank you, and please keep supporting Ukraine.
My name is Ilya Kaminsky. I'm a Ukrainian poet, translator, designer, and artist. And I'm going to read you one my poem from the Sunflower anthology in original and in English translation by перекладу and me. Лампочки. Довго тицяли пальцями, скрикували від подиву, доки не зрозуміли, що саме так виглядає смерть. Ця величезна риба зі скляними очима, з могильними плитами замість луски. Що вона забула в їхньому місті? Хіба ж воно пішло під воду? Тепер за вікнами найстрашніше цей грейпфрутовий звук дотикань луски зі склом. Ці пусті очиська, неначе протези. Кого вони видивляються? Чи помічають вони миготіння світла від маленьких лампочок, що трусяться під столом, наче від перепаду напруги? Що безупинно питають одна в одної? Може, ми давно померли? Може, нема чого боятися? Може, ми вже давно померли? Light bulbs. Surprised, they have been shouting fingers for a long time, until they realized how death looks like. This giant glass-eyed fish with tombstones instead of scales, where did it come from? Was the city inundated by water? It's the worst thing outside today. This grapefruit sound of the scales touching the window glass. These empty eyes, like protheses. Whom are they looking for? Do they notice the flicker of light, small light bulbs quivering under the table, as if the voltage dropped? They are asking each other incessantly. Maybe we died long ago. Maybe there is nothing to fear. Maybe we are already dead.
Dmytro Довбуш is a Ukrainian poet, an author of spiritual poems and journalist, born in Lutsk. Prayer of Cities by Dmytro Довбуш, from the Sunflowers, Ukrainian Poetry of War, Resistance, Hope and Peace anthology, edited by Kalpna Singh Chitnis, published by River Press in USA, translated by Olena Olier, by me. Now the clouds are above, now the blue is seen, Гостомель, Макарів, Ворзель, Охтирка, Ізюм, Ірпінь. There is through the explosions and sirens the prayerful reverie. Олешки, Чугуїв, Малин, Шевченкове, Бровари. In basements, subways, apartments, there are heartbeats under threats. Бахмач, Волноваха, Харків, Варварівка, Кролевець. Sweat pours over the foreheads, the faces are burning so far. Генічеськ, Нова Каховка, Чаплинка, Енергодар. Where children are screaming in terror and time is bleeding, don't ask. Скадовськ, Маріуполь, Щастя, Михайлівка, Лисичанськ. The peaceful people are shot. The horrible dream goes on. Дніпро, Миколаїв, Київ, Житомир, Токмак, Херсон. The fire runs beyond the horizon. The pillar of smoke is atop. Полтава, Чернігів, Суми, Калинівка, Конотоп. Biting their lips till they bleed, with the words to love and grieve. Бердянськ, Мелітополь, Буча, Семенівка, Васильків. Lord, look to every soul, improve their destiny. Великий Бурлюк, Іванків, Рубіжне, Нові Млини.
То хмара над головою, то знову прогляне синь. Гостомель, Макарів, Ворзель, Охтирка, Ізюм, Ірпінь. Молитва крізь звук сирени, крізь вибухи угорі. Олешки, Чугуїв, Малин, Шевченкове, Бровари. В підвалах, метро, квартирах прискорений пульс сердець. Бахмач, Волноваха, Харків, Варварівка, Кролевець. Чоло заливає потом, обличчя приймає жар. Генічеськ, Нова Каховка, Чаплинка, Енергодар. Де діти кричать від жаху, де кров'ю спливає час. Скадовськ, Маріуполь, Щастя, Михайлівка, Лисичанськ. Розстріляні мирні люди, неначе жахливий сон. Дніпро, Миколаїв, Київ, Житомир, Токмак, Херсон. Пожежа іде за обрій, до неба смолистий стовп. Полтава, Чернігів, Суми, Калинівка, Конотоп. Вкусивши вуста до крові, від рідних до болю слів. Бердянськ, Мелітополь, Буча, Семенівка, Васильків. Пильнуй, Боже, кожну душу надією осіни. Великий Бурлук, Іванків, Рубіжне, Нові Млини.
I'm Valentina Turchin. I read my poem The Spring is Bloody This Year from the Sunflowers Ukrainian Poems on War, Resistance, Hope and Peace anthology edited by Kalpna Singh Chitnis, published by River Press. I work as a teacher and I'm the author of the poetry book The War Which Remains in the Poems, published in 2022. And I'm co-author of stories about Kyiv, How Don't Love You. I've written a lot of poems and stories for adults and kids. I am the fourth prize winner for children's literature at Smolensky Publishing House. My audio fairy tales from the series 365 Fairy Tales for the Night sounds on the YouTube channel of Ukrainian Book Institute. The spring is bloody this year. Nightly news instead of morning coffee or tea. Shower of explosions, debris is scattering cities. No pain. The entire body is a wound. Sirens are wailing, morning alarms are shouting. Sleepless nights, damp in a raw, chilly basement. Suitcases, stations, trains run constantly. Destroyed schools turned into construction waste. Smoke in the skies is horror, is hellish. Suffering, despair, tears after every explosion. Crimson fire like the furious beast, bloody ocean. Stocks twitter loudly, spring is bloody this year. Body armor and balaclavas, safe as safe clothes, but not forever. A moment of silence instead of 1,000 words. Anxious days slowly flow into long, sleepless nights. Весна цього року кривава. Нічні новини замість вранішньої кави. Вибухів злива, осколки сипляться містами. Немає болю, все тіло суцільна рана. Сирени волають, сигнали тривоги зрання. Безсонні ночі, в підвалі волога, зимно. Валізи, вокзали, потяги мчать невпивно. Зруйновані школи стали сміттям будівельним. Дим у небі над цим жахіттям пекельним. За кожним вибухом сльози, страждання, зневіра, пожежа багряна, мов паща лютого звіра. Лелеки курличуть, весна цього року кривава. За одяг безпечний, бронежилети і балаклави. Хвилина мовчання замість тисячі слів пророчих. Повільно перетікають тривожні дні у безсонні ночі.
Вітаю! Мене звуть Юлія Павлівна. Я поет з України. І зараз я хочу розповісти тобі про війну. Про війну у мене вдома. Зло не сильніше любові. Для антології «Соняхи» українські вірші про війну, спротив, надію та мир. Станеться так, що війна розсікатиме навпіл, та літо народить маленькі рум'яні міста. Станеться так, що відлуння холодної правди вичавить сік на долоні чужинця. Свята з вітру повстане та буде молитися людям, тим, що дубами стояли, тримаючи світ. Небо розчиститься, небо усіх приголубить. Дрібно посіється з саду широкого цвіт на перериті дороги, надірвані душі. Спокою трохи вплететься в знебарвлені дні. Так, це війна, і коли вона раптом стається, в ріках із крові вмиваються, як у вині, кляті кати. Але зло не сильніше любові. Поки що кулі свистять та співати птахам. Скільки би не довелось підійматися знову. Дому свого я, триклятий, тобі не віддам.
Станислав Бельский. 5 wartime haikus. Translated by Valentina Melanie. Planes roar over the city. The residents pour into the schoolyard. Are we in hell, or do we get a pass this time? Над городом ревут самолеты. Жители высыпали на школьный двор. Мы в аду, или в этот раз обойдется? A long story, unfortunately. The story of a disease of one strange man. Долгая история, к сожалению. История болезни одного странного человека. They ask, which God to pray to? Probably the NATO God. He doesn't hear us, yet he has plenty of worries. Спрашивают, какому Богу молиться? Наверное, Богу надо. Он пока не слышит нас, весь в заботах. I sleep so little at night because of the frequent air raid sirens that during the day I fell asleep under the dentist's burr. Так мало сплю ночью из-за частых воздушных тревог, что днем уснул под бором у зубного врача. Missile wreckage, fallen into a plowed field, lies like a dead beast. Ракета лежит на распаханном поле, как издохший зверь.
Привіт! Мене звати Соломія Мардарович, і моя поезія увійшла у антологію Sunflowers, Ukrainian Poems on War, Resistance, Hope and Peace від видавництва Admirably Press під редакцією Kalpna Chitnis. Моя добра подруга, поетка Аліна Кондукова, власне, займалася перекладом цього вірша на англійську мову. І зараз я прочитаю вам його. Він називається «Вибух». Навпіл розбиті обличчя ховають у ґрунті серця проколених поколінь, які надовго забули, як виглядає сонце. Тепер така земля. Цвях. За цвяхом дерево, а далі тиша. Бруківка вкрита кров'ю. Ніхто не вчив від сорому здавлювати гор. Ніхто не вчив від страху затуляти вуха, ніхто не вчив так часто запитувати, як ти. Автомат зачиняє двері, а за межею ті, що гріють воду і чекають. Весна прийшла. Чи це щось означає? Так, у домівках. Навчились бути сильними у обіймах рук, очей і слів. Розстрілювати тіло не потрібно. Достатньо знищити оголені дитячі світанки. Душа невільника – це не про мою країну. Сина розвалена, а на кухні чекає мене мати із зеленим чаєм. Ти не змінився. Тільки я ще ніколи не спускалася вниз, неначе бігарячка. Тільки я ще ніколи не стояла на пероні у страху не побачити близьких. Тільки я ще ніколи не казала дякую за те, що жива, а не мертва. And now I will read these poems in English, as I say, my good friend, a poet, Alina Kundikova, translated it. Explosion. Half-broken faces bury the hearts of pierced generation in the ground, who have long forgotten what the sun looks like. So, now the earth. Nail. Behind the nail is a tree, and then there is a silence. The pavement is covered with blood. No one was taught to squeeze their thoughts out of shame. No one was taught to cover their ears out of fear. No one has taught me to ask how are you so often. The machine closes the door and abroad. Those who heat water and wait. Spring has come. Does it mean something? Yes. We are in homes, learned to be strong in the arms, eyes, and words. You do not need to shout the body. It is enough to destroy naked children's dawns. The soul of a slave is not about my country. The wall is ruined, but in the kitchen, waiting for my mother with green tea. The day has not changed. Only I have never been down. It's like a feather. Only I have never stood on the platform in fear of not seeing loved ones. Only I have never said thank you for being alive, not dead. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Andriy Puranov, a Ukrainian poet currently living in Khmelnytsky, And this is my poem Neperemozhny, or Undefeatable, from the Sunflowers Ukrainian Poems on War, Resistance, Hope and Peace anthology, edited by Kalpna Singh Chitnis and published by Riverpop Press. Присвячується моєму товаришу, що й досі шукає себе на теренах російсько-української війни. Ми знайомі з часів, коли люди і хмари здавались прозорими. Він вправлявся у бавленні творами, текстами, змістами, формами. Ми разом тікали з пар скверами, парками, коридорами. Шукали прихистку у верб і дубів під розлогими кронами. Він вірив, що модусом кожного мусить бути лишатися вільними. Що опція миру завжди була неймовірно переоцінена. Що правда, здобута за правом сильного, є безапеляційною. Пішов віддуватись на фронт, доки ви тут собачились на інформаційному. Тепер у розгрузці під серцем носить зіплок із землею і кров'ю. У флязі на поясі калатається густе диявольське пойло. Розкажіть йому, як вам важко боротись щодня з вогкою журбою. Про Кастанеду ще розкажіть з його становленням на шляху воїна. Він теж вам розкаже про те, як на сході буяють хащі полину, як змінюється на позиції сприйняття особистого часоплину, як за зорю провідну для нього жеврів снаряд джавеліну, як з розмаю слів віддавав перевагу лиш двом – за Україну, як зістрибував зі стосунків ніби з десантного гелікоптеру, як загартковував у відпустках пігулками нервову систему, як довго в повітрі тримається запах пороху і чорнозему. Як це забрати життя, хоч на вашому місці я б облишив цю тему. Як крізь коліматор щодня шукав зміст і ціль у окопах ворожих. Як прагнув довести, що він дещо більше, аніж простий подорожній. Перетнувши межу, за якою покажеш собі, на що ти спроможний, ти нарешті повернешся непереможений і непереможний.
Hello, my name is Maria Dishkant, a Ukrainian writer and translator from Khmelnytsky. And this is the poem Neperemozhny, or Undefeatable, by Andrei Kuranov from the Sunflowers Ukrainian Poems on War, Resistance, Hope and Peace anthology, edited by Kalpna Singh Chitnis, published by Riverpop Press. We've been friends since the time people and clouds seemed translucent. He would practice playing with stories, text structures, and forms. We used to escape from dull classes to parks, streets, and halls. For us, willow and oak branches rustled sounded so soothing. He strongly believed that everyone's motto should be stay free, that people had always overrated the option of peace, that the truth gained by the rule of the gun was absolute. He rushed to the front while you kept fighting on the front page disputes. Now he's carrying a Ziploc bag with soil and blood by his heart, and the bottle on his belt is filled with some devilish booze. Tell him how hard it is to struggle against falling apart. Tell him about Castaneda, his warrior's pass, and wise clues. We would also tell you how beautifully wormwood blooms in the east, how one's perceptions of time can be changed in position, how his personal leading star has become javelin, how among millions of words for Ukraine was his decision, how he fell out of with people like of a helicopter, how he tempered his nervous system with pills on a break, how long the smell of gunpowder and black soil keeps one awake, how it feels to take someone's life, though I'd skip this topic, how he searched enemy trenches for purpose and meaning, how he strived to prove that wasn't just a mere passerby, once showing what you are capable of after crossing the line. You lastly come back undefeatable and undefeated.
Dear friends, let me introduce Valentina Davydenko, a Kyiv journalist, poet, translator and artist, the author of the poetry books Green Star of March, Night Tower, Flute of Eutherpa and A White Lamp I Will Bring You at Night. Pamvo Berinda's Lexicon by Valentina Davydenko, translated by Olena Olir, by me. The poem from the Sunflowers, Ukrainian Poems on War, Resistance, Hope and Peace anthology, edited by Kalpna Singh Chitnis, published by River Po Press in USA. The jasmine blossom like a silver icon in the city. Its lexicon's handwritten letters are graceful and pretty. The anchored writing the lexicon lights up his candle for future Ukrainian springs and their blossoming mantle. For ages the flying and glistening heavenly pollens, like the clear diamonds from a sword's handle, have fallen. In the ancient Baroque era, the anchored poet his prayer makes over that lexicon, whispering Lord, in words of the hetmans, musicians and students, to view the chance with his tears in the May storms and shower of Kyiv. For signs are prophetic, for feathers of peacocks are glorious, and killing the enemy, our deadly swords are victorious. Author's note: the first dictionary of the literature Ukrainian language was compiled in 1627 by Pamvo Berinda, an outstanding lexicographer and engraver of the Kyiv-Pечерськ Lavra.
Лексикон Памви Беринди. В ясминовім цвіті це місто як срібна ікона, тонка каліграфія літер його лексикону. І схимник, що пише словник, свою свічечку світить за весни майбутні цього українського цвіту. Небесний пилок все летить і не меркне з віками, як шаблі руків'я ясний діамантовий камінь. Бо схимник – поет у барокову давню епоху, над тим словником потім пошепки молиться Богу. Словами спудеїв, гетьманів своїх, музикантів, про київські грози, травневі, і сльози, і канти. Бо знаки всі віщі, бо пера павині, вельможні, смертельні для ворога наші мечі переможні.
Привіт, мене звати Руслан. Мені подобається осмислювати сенс нашого життя через призму сьогодення. І кожного разу, коли я пишу, я замислююся про те, чи правильно я це роблю. Народився я і виріс на Прикарпатті, закінчив теологічний факультет. Працюю у сфері культури. Я автором книг «Той, хто переміг смерть» та «Ціна помилки». Щиро дякую за таку можливість бути почутим, надрукованим в цій антології. І нехай мир завжди буде в наших серцях. І де ж тепер краса твоя, людино? І де ж тепер краса твоя, людино? Куди поділася вона уся нараз? Тепер, коли лежиш у домовині, коли ти більше не серед живих. І де ж поділась пишнота і врода, що з юних літ, котрих давно нема, отих років, і втрата їх даремна? То у чому, людино, уся краса твоя? І де ж зараз краса твоя, людино, де сила, мужність, егоїзм, бабло, і якщо за душу біси воюватимуть? а в рештках твоїх хробаки зроблять кубло. То що варта краса твоя, людино?
Добрий день, я доцентка факультету журналістики Львівського національного університету імені Івана Франка, кандидатка наук із соціальних комунікацій, авторка поетичної збірки «Соната любові», а також серії оповідань «Теплі історії» і 70 наукових статей. Я також переможниця всеукраїнських і міжнародних поетичних та прозових конкурсів, зокрема міжнародного конкурсу імені Марії Урбанської, міжнародної премії Шпігель-Люнген для міні-прози «Мікроліти Потойбіч Целана», лауреатка Державної премії імені Івана Франка у галузі інформаційної діяльності, а також всеукраїнського поетичного конкурсу імені Максима Рильського «Троянди і виноград» та інших. Моя поезія «Чи треба» від Sunflower Ukrainian Poetry on War, Resistance, Hope and Peace. Що там в тривожній валізці? Черевички дитячі? Чи треба? Дитина твоя вже крилата, поміж ракети крилаті, летить увесь до неба. В одежі із світла, до Бога, а в жменці лиш трішки попелу, поміж крилаті ракети, святим посипати голову. Що там в тривожній валізці? Шматок твого серця? Чи треба? Серце твоє безкриле, прошите осколками граду, лежить під зотлілим небом. Що там в тривожній валізці? Лишилося трошки надій? Псалом 90 і сльози пречистої Діви Марії. Дякую.
Hello, I'm Darina Berezina, a writer and a translator from the southern city of Mykolaiv, Ukraine. I'm reading a poem by Helena Yatsenko from the Sunflowers, Ukrainian poems of war, resistance, hope, and peace, an anthology edited by Kalpna Singh Chitnis, published by River Pop Press. What for? By Helena Yatsenko, translated by Darina Berezina. What do you have in your go bag? First shoes for your baby. What for? Your child has wings now, as well as the rockets, and she stands at the God's door in the robes of light, ashes in her fist. Do the saints exist? And the rockets still fly and fly? What do you have in your go bag? A piece of your heart. What for? Your wingless heart is torn apart by the hailstones of this war. What do you have in your go bag? The remnants of hope you carry, as well as Kiabitat and the tears of our Holy Virgin Mary.
Мене звати Олена Терещенко, я українська письменниця і поетеса з Чернігова, і це мій вірш «Смак війни» з антології «Соняшники». У моєму улюбленому кафе все тепер матиме дивний смак. Кава гірчитиме від сліз дітей з Бучі, а вершки стануть солоними від крові захисників Маріуполя. І на зубах щоразу репітимуть уламки снарядів, що розривали Чернігів і Харків. У моєму улюбленому кафе я озирнуся і не побачу знайомих облич, що були рідними. У моєму улюбленому кафе прошу, візьми мене за руку і скажи, що кохаєш, як до війни. My name is Helena Terещенко, and I am a Ukrainian writer and poet from Chernihiv. And this is my poem, A Taste of War, from the Sunflowers. At my favorite cafe, now everything will get a strange taste. Coffee will be bitter from the tears of children from Bucha, and the cream will become salty from Mariupol defenders' blood. And the fragments of bombs which broke Chernihiv and Kharkiv will squeak on your teeth every time. At my favorite cafe, I'll look back and won't see any familiar faces who were relatives. In my favorite cafe, please take my hand and say that you love me, as before the war.
Hi, I'm Naya Zadneprenska, Ukrainian poetess. I was born in Kharkiv, but now I live in Krakow, Poland. I'm happy to be a part of Sunflowers, Ukrainian poems on war, resistance, hope, and peace anthology, published by River Paw Press. I want to say thank you to everyone who took part in putting this wonderful book together. I will read the verse in Ukrainian called Trees Stretch Their Branches to Reach the Sky. Дерева тягнуться до неба так, ніби це їхнє спасіння. Ніби це останній знак у їхніх нічних видіннях. Ніби це приведе їх колись до головного. Вони тягнуться попри все, ввись, не пам'ятаючи злого.
And now it's my honor to share some poems of Shahrizadan with you, translated by me, nominated for Nobel Prize in Literature. And I had the opportunity to translate some of his poems with his permission, and I want to share those poems with you. The first poem is Perhaps It's Time to Start Now. Perhaps it's time to start now, no matter how much I convinced myself that it isn't the time, that I shouldn't blindly say the words not rooted in my voice, which are not from the books of my life I had before, no matter how much I choke on the empty, quiet air of this spring, burning silently like summer wind, as it turns out that the language is mightier than the fear of speaking. It has the power to fill the pockets of life. It has the spaces where people gather, where they need to talk about themselves in a way that from now on they are always recognized by their voice. It turns out that the language, like March cold, has sat in our lungs, burdening them like clothes on fugitives, weighing them down while crossing a frozen river. It is also true that in the absence of our voices, we do not become honest with ourselves in speech. Yes, like giving up on our right to sing in a choir for fear of making mistakes and getting caught. A silence lies behind us like an unsown field. Silence like wells filled with stones. Maybe this is our fear, our despair, explaining the frantic quiet of the shocked eyewitnesses, those who have seen all, who have to testify and call out the murderers by voicing for justice. The sound of the night must be sowed. There must be a delirium of a morning song. There is a torment behind all this because there is weight in all this. The second poem is also by Shahrizadan and translated by me. And the title of the poem is We Are Talking About War for 3 Years. An acquaintance volunteered to enlist. He came back in 6 months. No one knows where he was. What he is afraid of, he doesn't say. But he is afraid of something. It appears to be he is afraid of everything. He was a normal person, though he spoke a lot about everything in the world, about everything that came to his mind. But he returned as a completely different person, as if someone pulled out his old tongue and did not replace it with another in return. So he sits all day long in his bed and listens to the demons in his head. The first demon is fierce, spitting fire, asking for punishment for all who are living. The second demon is godly. He speaks of forgiveness. He speaks gently, touching his fellow's heart with his hands, smeared in chernosm. But the worst of all is the third devil. He agrees with both of them. He accepts, doesn't deny them. It is after his voice when the headache begins. And the third poem is We Have Been Talking About War for 3 Years. Written by Shahrizadan, translated by me, Kalpna Singh Chitnis. For 3 years, we have been talking about war. We have learned to talk about our own past, considering the war. We have learned to make our own plans while keeping an eye on the war. We have words to show our anger. We have words to express our sorrows. We have words to voice our contempt. We have words for curse prayers. It is essential for us to speak about ourselves in times of war. We can't help but talk about ourselves amidst the war. It is unacceptable to remain silent about ourselves. Every morning we talk about the war. We stand in front of the mirror and talk about the war. We speak to the person we see before us. Wise words, wise and compelling words, wise questions, wise answers. Every morning, we remind everyone of the numbers of deaths. At lunchtime, we relish the sunlight outside the window, the fresh grass tearing through the dead stones. And then, at night, we once remind everyone about the numbers of deceased. It is essential for us to remind everyone about the numbers of dead. It is crucial that we are the one who remind us about the numbers of dead. It is important for us that the number of the dead be heard directly from us. We leave no chance to anyone. We cut reality with garden shears. We evaluate it. We give it a non-negligible diagnosis. We have been giving out estimates for 3 years. For 3 years, we have been talking in front of the mirror. You can't be afraid of asking tough questions. And can't be afraid of getting answers that do not help. But those who are confident, talk about it out loud. And those who aren't so enthusiastic, quietly, the death toll, either way, is not affected.